Hi everybody, this is White Cotton Quilts. I'm Roxanne. So today I am going to show you how to make my version of the Arizona quilt. The Arizona quilt looks super hard, and like all of my patterns, it is geared towards the beginner quilter or a confident beginner quilter, and that just basically means that you're able to hold that 1/4 of an inch seam pretty well. So that's all you really need to do this quilt, y'all. So it's super easy, and I have already got all of my pieces cut. So right here you can see I've got a whole stack of my pieces cut. I am currently working on making all the half square triangle units that you need, and that is a super easy method. It's just doing the tube method, and you can use a jelly roll for that. You can cut your own strips. It's very super friendly for beginners, just for that sake that if you're not confident cutting, you can purchase them already cut for you. So that's also really easy to do. And then your next step, and if you buy the pattern, there's 2 things on this that might be just a little challenging for you. And I'm going to cover that in just a second. Okay, so if you're a beginner quilter and you're attempting my Arizona quilt, the 2 things that might be a little challenging for you in this quilt is, 1, making the angled unit that you're going to need to build this block with. So my angled units are right here. Now you can see I'm using black, and when you cut these, you're going to be cutting 2 to 4 at a time. However you leave this strip folded or unfolded, it's not going to matter. I left mine folded. With that, yes, you're going to get a little bit of waste. So if you don't want the waste, I would recommend unfolding your strip and going from there. And then your waist will be like this much. So, and then the other thing when you're doing this is if you unfold your strip, you are going to be making 2 at a time. So you are going to be making 1 that will be and I'm assuming that you're going to use a print or a fabric that's having a right and a wrong side. So when you're doing that, you're going to end up with 2 pieces that are going to be going the opposite directions, and you want that. So you're going to have 1 piece, they're going to be laying together, 2 of them, and then when you pull them apart, you are going to have your wrong sides will be together when you're pulling them apart. So that means when you take them apart completely, you're going to have 1 that's pointing to the left, and you are going to have 1 that's pointing to the right. So you do need that for this pattern. And I just want you to be aware of that, so that when you're cutting, whatever fabric you're cutting, sometimes it's harder to see the right side from the wrong side. So just be aware of that when you're doing your cutting, that you are going to get some facing left, some facing right. And I do put in the pattern exactly how many of these you're going to need. I do not have them differentiated into right and lefts. You should be able to get exactly what you need, but so here's my stack of them. So the other thing I was going to touch upon is how do you make these, right? How do you get that angle going down? And I'm going to show you here in just a sec. Okay, so to make your angled unit, the first thing you're going to do is, I'm using yardage, and I'm using black for my background. So you can see here, I have my black yardage, and I have it folded in half with the salvages together. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 2 salvages, and I'm going to fold it in half again so that they run along the fold, okay? You want to make sure that these line up pretty well. You also want to make sure that you press at each step, because if you don't, your strip that you cut is going to have this wonky bow in it, and it's going to make it really hard to sew, and it's just not going to give you the results that you want. So please make sure that you press these each time. Press it when you fold it in half, press it again when you fold it in half again, so that your piece is flat, your edges are pressed good. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to cut a 2.5-inch strip. And like I said, you could use a roll of 2.5-inch strips. You know, whatever works out better for your brain to you know, do this. I just like to use yardage. So I'm going to cut 2.5, and the ruler I'm using is Missouri Star. It already is 2.5 inches, so I don't even have to think about it. It just takes a lot of the work out right there. So I'm just going to line it up and cut across. Just like that. Okay, I'm going to put this aside. Move that. Okay, so now you have your strip of 2.5 inches by the width of fabric. And I'm going to open it up, so I'm going to show you this way. So remember, you should have your right sides on the outside and your wrong sides touching each other, okay? So the first thing we're going to want to do is I'm going to work from the selvage end, and we're going to cut that selvage off. You don't want the selvage in your pieces. So we're going to cut that little bit of selvage off. I'm not cutting very much. Just like that. And then the next thing we are going to do is we are going to cut 7 inches. So make sure your strip, mine moved on me. And we are going to go 7 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we are going to cut. Just like that. And you're going to do that all the way down. So let's go ahead and I'll just finish this strip out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like that. Okay. And you'll see the amount of scrap you got. That's it. Okay, so now how to do the angled part. So you're going to take your 2 strips. We're going to lay them on our cutting board. And you need a ruler that has a 45-degree angle on it. Doesn't matter what kind of ruler, you just need that 45-degree angle. I'm not going to use this one because it's a little too bulky for this. I do have this little bitty one. You can buy this one, I think, at Walmart. But it does have the 45 on it, and that's what we need. So you're going to take your 45, which is this line right across here, and we're going to lay it across the top of the strip so that it lines up. And then you're going to see that you have this little triangle poking out here. That's what we're going to cut off. So you need to make sure that you have enough of this ruler hanging off the edge of your strip that you're not cutting it short, okay? So you want it a little hanging off, just like that. Okay, so then we're just going to cut off that tip. And sorry guys, I'm left-handed, so I have to kind of turn this way to do it. Just like that. You have that tiny little bit of scrap. And then you have your 2 angled pieces. And remember, you're going to have one that's going left, one that's going right. Now, going left and right for this pattern doesn't really matter, but you do want one when we get to that part, and we'll get there. You do want to make sure that you're kind of careful, because the way this pattern is built, it's built almost like a log cabin. So you're going to start at the center and you're going to build outwards. So that's why you have to have one that's going a different direction. So the next step that we are going to do is let me explain a little bit about the strip part. So this pattern is going to have you cut a lot of strips, or you can use a lot of 2.5-inch pre-cut strips. Doesn't matter. What you are going to do is you are going to pair your background fabric with, this is a 3-color quilt, so you're gonna have at least 3 colors that you're gonna have to pair it with. You can do it scrappy. I have not seen a scrappy one yet, so if you wanna attempt a scrappy one, I would love to see what a scrappy one looks like of this. But I did mine 3 colors, and I'm doing a 3-color again. So you're gonna pair right sides together. You're gonna sew down both sides all the way down, because you're gonna need a lot of these guys. And you can see here, these are the blues and these are the reds. I did all of these. Then you're gonna sit and you're gonna cut them apart. So I suggest with this pattern, and I cannot suggest this enough, and just disclaimer, I am not getting paid to promote this product at all, but it's one of my favorite products. I love this product. So this is the Clearly Perfect slotted trimmer, and it's for trimming your half square triangles. I cannot rave about this enough. It comes in, this is the A, there's a B, and then now they have a big one that'll do A and B all the way up. I find that the big one is a little too bulky for me, trying to do the smaller sizes, so I like to do the A size. But if I was doing big giant half square triangles, that would be the one I would go to. And I do have all 3. So this one is trimmer A, and I don't know if you can see the back. Hold on. There, that helps it. So if you can see, trimmer A, it starts at 1.5 1-inch finished, 2.5 2-inch finished, and goes all the way to 6, I believe. Yes, 6. Trimmer B is going to be all your half sizes, so it's going to be 2 inches, 1.5 finished, and so on. So we're going to use trimmer A because we want ours to finish at 2 inches, unfinished 2.5. And it's so super simple for this, y'all. So I've already started cutting on this orange one. So that's what we're going to finish on. So I've already cut one unit laying the ruler this way. There. I've already cut one like this direction, so it would have laid like right there. So now we're going to cut to save the strip so you don't lose any, you just want a tiny bit left over. So we're going to take our ruler and we're going to flip it upside down. Let me move these. So we're going to flip it upside down, and you just follow the instructions on the ruler. You're going to lay the dotted line on the ruler on your stitches. And then the bottom dark line is the bottom of the piece. And then we're simply going to cut down it, trim off our little dog ear, cut down it this way. And my dog ear has already been cut off on this side because of the way I lined it up from the last one. And there you go. So when you press it open, it's absolutely perfect. I just love it. So the other things you're going to need for this pattern is you're going to need a little tiny stack of your colors, and you can see I have those cut. You're going to need some triangles. I've already got those cut in the colors I need. And then you're gonna need your background. And I have all my background pieces already cut and ready to go. And I've got a little more cutting to do before I can take you to the sewing machine and show you the sewing on this pattern. And that's gonna be coming right up. All right, so I've got my triangle cut in the orange because I'm doing the orange block. I've got angled units sewn to a blue square, and this is how we're going to build it out. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to build these two sides first. So we're going to take an orange and one of our angled blocks, and you have to notice that the angled block You see here that it's on this. Yes, you're gonna have a little hanging off here. Oh, sorry, I got that one the wrong way. There we go. Okay, so anyway, so yes, you're gonna have a little extra hanging off. Yes, you do need that 1/4 of an inch. Don't worry about it, it's fine. Just the fact that this all has to be this direction. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna sew this down. Just like this. And if you've cut this right and you've done it right, when you press it open, see, you have that little 1/4 of an inch hanging off. And that's how you know you've done it right, because everything should line up perfectly. So I'm not going to press this because that would take some time, and I want to show you guys the next step. So I'm just going to finger press it real good. And then the next step, we're going to take the angled unit. And again, we have to make sure our directionality is right. So you want the angle to be following this line. Yes, you're going to have a 1/4 of an inch hanging off. That's the way it's supposed to be. We're just going to line that up, nest it with the previous seam. Again, making sure everything stays lined up. Sew down. And when you open it, there you go. Isn't that great? And everything should line straight up. Yes, you can nip those off if you want to. I usually just leave them. It's not going to hurt anything at this point in the construction. And that's how you get that started for that piece.
If you do the manufacturers, it'd be better for Genovia.
All right, so here you see I have our triangle piece that we made before. And I've gone ahead and I've sewn, there's 2 separate strips that you have to make with the half square triangles that you made. So one, you notice, only has 4 half square triangles, and their orientation is important on this. With a little half square piece on the end. Now you'll notice on this one, there's a little bit of a 1/4 of an inch hanging off. That's fine, it's not gonna hurt anything. You can either leave it or trim it off. I usually leave it. And then on this one, you can see that there's 5 half square triangles and then another one of those. And again, there's a little 1/4 of an inch left over. It's not going to affect anything. And actually, you kind of need that for the seam allowance right here. So I would not trim nothing off there. So what we're going to do first is we are going to take, once again, we are going to do this side here first. And you want to make sure that you are lining up. So again, your angle on this side is going to continue on there. So we are going to line this up just like this. And again, I'm going to make sure that my, in this case, blue square and the previous one, the seams are lining up good. And then for the rest of this, it won't matter. Just going to sew down it. Try not to stretch anything because you are sewing on a bias and you will have a little bit hanging off. You want that to hang off. Don't worry about it. So you can see we've got like that. Now for the final step on this part of the block, we're going to do just like that and sew it across the top again, making sure to line up our seam allowances, or yeah, our seams. So we're going to sew across here. My seams are already lining up perfectly, so I don't have to really worry about that. Just like this. You are going to have, again, you are going to have a little 1/4 of an inch hanging off. Just sew straight down it. So that when we press this open, see, you've got, and see, this is important right here. You had this 1/4 of an inch there. You need that for the next seam allowance, so don't trim nothing off. And the same on this one. I would not trim anything off. You need that extra for the next seam allowance. So the final thing we're going to do is we're going to finish off this half of the unit to make it into a square, because you've got this triangle going on. So I'm going to go and I'm going to press this and make sure it's super flat before I do the next step. Okay, so I have gone to the iron and I've pressed this nice and flat. Looks really pretty. So we're going to take a big half square. This is a big triangle, basically half of a big square. And the best way to do this so that you can line it up is we are going to fold both of these pieces in half, just like this, and find the center. I'm going to finger press a spot in the center there, just like that. And then on this one, you're going to do the same thing. Fold it in half. Find your center spot. Press it or put a pin in it or mark it somehow, however you want to do it, so that you know that that's the center. And then it's easier if you just lay them down together in the groove that you made when you folded, just like this. They should line right up. Everything should match up perfectly. Now you are going to want to pin, because this is on the bias, it will stretch. So be sure to put plenty of pins in here. You do not want it stretching while you're trying to keep everything aligned and sewn. So just like this. Got one last one to do here, down on this corner. Just like this. All right, so let's go ahead and sew down this edge. And I'm going to remove this first pin so that I can line this up really good, make sure everything is lined up before I continue. And just work my way down that way, aligning, being careful not to stretch.
Hey, green.
Okay. Let me take this one out and align. Just like that. And then our last one here, we are going to align. Just like that. Okay, so you can see on this end I still have those little dog ears that I left on. That's fine. I'm going to take a pair of scissors and I'm just going to nip those little doggy ears off because we no longer need those. There they go. And then there's one right here from the orange. We're going to nip him off. And then now, when we open it up, there's our block. So, this is going to get pressed. And this is the same process for both colors, for the red and the orange in my pattern. And in another video, I will show you how to do the second block, because this quilt is made up of 2 blocks. So be on the lookout for that. Hey everybody, so it's a new day and I'm going to continue this video about how to make the Arizona quilt. So I left off yesterday because it was getting late. So I'm just going to put this video on the end of that one, so don't be confused. And so what I did yesterday is I started working on the second block. So this quilt is comprised of 2 different blocks. The one I showed you how to make yesterday, which is this one. You can see this one right here, and it's done in 2 different colors. And then you have this block right here. So today I'm going to show you how to make that aqua blue block. So what I did yesterday, let me get my pieces out here. So what I did yesterday is I took my half square triangles in the aqua, and see, there's the ones in the aqua. So what I did is I took 4 of them and I sewed them per the instructions, just like this. Now, you could do this as an economy block, but because I want this to be very beginner friendly, I just chose to do 4 half square triangles together to make the same kind of shape. If you're a more advanced quilter and you want to go ahead and do it as an economy block, go ahead and do it as an economy block. I just did this so that it would be very simple for a beginner quilter to do. So that was the first step I did. So then the second step I did was, again, following the directions. You sew the 2 side pieces on of just plain color background. And then I sewed to the top a strip that looked like this with a red corner. And then on the bottom, I sewed a strip with an orange corner. Now you see, notice how the directions are going there. So today, the next step of this process to make this block is you have to make 2 side pieces. You remember, we're building this out kind of like a log cabin. So you're going to do your center, sides, top, and bottom. And then you're going to do sides, top, and bottom. So the next step on this is to do the next 2 sides. So you see here, I've got already sewn. This is one side. And then I've got the other side. So I'm going to go ahead while I've got you right here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sew these, and then we're going to do the next step. There we go. Okay. So we're going to do this one to this side. Line everything up really good. Try to nest on the one seam that you have on here where that red block is. Try to nest it. That will make your units look prettier. Just like that. And then we're going to do it to the other side. Again, lining everything up. Do a few stitches to start, stop, nest that seam, and continue on. All right, so now you can see I've got the 2 sides sewn on there. And we're going to sew the top and the bottom. Now the top and bottom in the pattern are different. So you'll notice I got the top already sewn. It looks something like that. And the bottom looks like that. So let's do the top first, okay? So we're going to do the top, which is just like that. Again, you're just going to nest that first seam. So we're going to line up. We're going to line up and do a couple stitches. Nest that seam right there. It should be the only one that you really have to worry about. Oh, I got to line up this one down here with the orange. There we go. Everything's lined up. It's okay to stop and realign every so often. Doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. In fact, it means you're doing something right. Stopping and realigning, making sure everything is lined up, nested. There is some give in this pattern, so that should be a great help when you're sewing. And you see we've got that top on. So we're going to do the bottom. Now, before I even turn this around, I need to make sure that I've got it laid on there right, so my directionality is right, and flip it up, and then we're going to turn. Once again, we're going to line up, do a couple stitches, nest that seam, line everything up and nest the other seam. Want to make sure we got everything lined up pretty good. And then I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to line these last two seams and make sure these last two seams are nested. And there we go. So these are going to get pressed. And there's our unit. Isn't that great? That's a quick little video on how to make the 2 different blocks. It's only all this is made from 2 blocks, guys. 2 blocks, that's all you have to make. And it's all about the layout to make this stunner of a quilt. Isn't that great? So if you want to get your hands on this quilt pattern, it's available on my Etsy shop. It's available in PDF and paper version. It's also available on my website. Right now on the website, it's only available in PDF. So if you want the paper, I suggest just going to the Etsy shop. I will be adding this to the website in paper soon. And yeah, I'm even like right now, I'm working on updating it. So if you see a little tag that says updated, I am going to update this with some new charts, new graphs, new, just some stuff that when I originally designed this, I did not know how to make. So you can see there's my notes where I'm going to change some stuff, add to some directions, take some directions out. So hopefully it'll be a better process for you to do. So that's it, guys. Isn't that great? I will share the finished quilt with you as soon as I get it done. I am working super hard trying to get this done. This one is the second one I've made of this, and this one is actually going to my daughter's boyfriend. So she wanted the original colorways, so that's what we're doing. We're doing the original colorways. So thanks, guys, for watching. I appreciate it. Like anything else, please do all the things. Subscribe, share, check out my Instagram, check out my website. It's whitecottonquilts.com. The Etsy shop is White Cotton Quilt, no S. Check out all those, guys, because here in the next couple of weeks, I am going to be adding some new things to the shop. I have a new pattern that's called Ripple Effect that was just released like 2 weeks ago. It's beautiful. If you have not seen that, then you need to check that out as well. And that's it. I will see you guys hopefully soon to show you this and to share another quilt pattern with you. Bye.